What you got?
Says he's got a good story.
You got what?
Georgia. Good story about Florida, Georgia.
Okay. Sorry I was a little late there. Looking forward to Georgia week here, getting over to Jacksonville and one of the great rivalries in all of college football. There's nothing like it coming over the bridge and getting ready for this game and the excitement that'll be in the air, certainly on game day, but also the build up to it. You look at Georgia, the one thing that jumps out at you is the turnover margin. They're plus 13. They've only had 4 turnovers on the entire season. That's a reason why they are where they are. 1 fumble and 3 interceptions. They take care of the football. They got a 5th-year senior that certainly has waited his turn, Hudson Mason, leading their football team at the quarterback position, very efficient in what he's doing. He's completing right at 70% of his passes. Talented at the wideout position, and Bennett and Conley and Mitchell's come off an ACL and looks good. Extremely talented at running back. Todd Gurley is one of the best football players in college football. He's a violent runner. He's a great competitor, a guy that really, really competes on every down in what he does. Nick Chubb's done an outstanding job in his absence so far. Sonny Michel's been injured, but is a good player for him. And Keith Marshall's been a guy that's been banged up a little bit too, but they certainly expect him back in Brendan Douglas. They've got a good depth at the running back position. Zeb Blazevich has been a good addition for him at the tight end position, and their offensive line is playing extremely well as far as in the run game and pass game is concerned. So scoring a lot of points on offense, doing a good job of moving the chains versus everybody they play defensively. Floyd and Jenkins and Wilson and Herrera are all guys we've played before. Bless you. And but all of those guys are good players, and Floyd and Jenkins certainly rush the passer extremely well, and both linebackers are instinctive, tough players that play the run well. They're very good on third down, and they've been very opportunistic defensively of getting the ball off people. Special teams, Marshall Morgan's an outstanding place kicker. They punt the ball extremely well. They've done a lot of directional punting. They're averaging less than 2 yards a return, so that's something that's been an advantage for us. We need to try and get some more going, and they've been very good in the return game. Isaiah McKenzie's been a guy that's done a nice job for them. We're very healthy at this point of the season. The off week, we met on Sunday and then watched the game film from the previous game. Monday we were off and recruited as a staff. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday we practiced, started on Georgia, more of that focus on Thursday. Thought we had a good practice there. Friday we were off, and again the staff recruited then. Saturday we were off, and we got them back Sunday. And looking forward to the game on Saturday. Open it up for any questions you might have.
Yep. Will, you talked about the open date, maybe trying to identify some things you can do well on offense. Were you able to do that?
Well, we struggled with our identity. I think more than anything, when you have 15 turnovers in 4 games, it's struggled to get anything going offensively. But, we've run the ball pretty well through the year. We need to continue to build the play actions off of that. Treon will be getting his first start, and excited for him and what he's going to be able to do. And a guy that has a knack for making plays. Certainly has got a calm, cool collective about himself and how he carries himself, and I think we'll play well. So identify some things he feels comfortable with, and as well as we continue to move forward offensively. And that's, again, I think as much as anything, we've struggled with an identity because of the turnovers. That's been a major issue.
How did he handle doing first-team reps all week last week and his demeanor going to the game?
Couldn't tell a difference whether he was starting or he's 5th team. I mean, that's just his mentality, is the way he carries himself. He's a very calm, cool kid.
Edgar.
Young man, excuse me.
Are you preparing as if Todd Gurley's playing? It sounds like
Absolutely. I would expect him to play it.
you did. So what is the challenge of having so many different styles of runners potentially with Michael's style?
Well, they don't have a whole lot of different styles. Those guys are all physical guys that run the ball downhill, north-south. They're one-cut runners. They get the ball north-south pretty quickly. So I don't know that there's a difference, in how they run. Obviously, Todd's got a lot of experience, and Nick's been a guy that's come along and played extremely well for him.
Turnovers, obviously, that's just been a killer for you guys. How have you guys worked on that? What have you done?
Well, we have a ball security period every single day that we've been doing for 2 years now. So we changed up some things we were doing as far as that was concerned, but just continuing to emphasize taking care of the football. And it's, you can't turn it over 6 times and win. It's not going to happen.
Mark up front.
You mentioned last week that there was you had a role for Driscoll. Have you kind of defined that a little bit more?
We will as the week rolls on. We really didn't get started as far as game planning on Georgia till Thursday. Jess had a sore back a little bit. He missed most of last week as far as just getting some rest with him. But he'll be back at practice today and be ready to go. And we'll identify those things moving forward.
And when you look at the overall offense and certainly the passing game over 4 years, is there anything you can put your finger on in terms of why it hasn't developed? Is it continuity on the staff, quarterback play, a little bit of everything?
I would say inconsistency at quarterback and receiver. I think that those two positions have not been what we've needed them to be. I think you go back to our first year when we got here, John Brantley was a senior and Tyler Murphy was an underclassman. We recruited Jacoby and Jeff both to come in as freshman quarterbacks. I think that, John got hurt, I guess, the second quarter of the Alabama game. But threw the ball extremely well in the first half. Over 200 yards passing is probably the best defense in college football that year. But, him coming off the injury was never healthy as the year rolled forward, so we had very inconsistent performance on top of, missing some playing time. Our second year, Jeff was the first year as a starter. We were very good on defense. We were very good on special teams. We were a very physical run football team, and quite frankly, as the head coach, made decisions that we were going to play to our strengths, and that's run the football, play action, use the quarterback's legs in the run game, and it afforded us 11 wins, so it worked. And then I don't think it's really fair to judge last year from the standpoint, we went through 3 quarterbacks. We went through a lot of different offensive line combinations as far as especially at the tackle positions, and we struggled mightily throwing the football. Going into this year, I felt very comfortable as far as coming out of training camp and how we were throwing the football. I really did. And you look at our first couple ball games, I thought we were very efficient throwing the ball, especially in the second half of the Kentucky game. For whatever reason, we have lost some confidence, whether it's dropped passes, whether it's timing, whether it's forced throws, and we've had way too much inconsistency as far as our ball security at the quarterback position and turnovers. And that's why we're going with Treon.
Is the staff issue is that overplayed or maybe underplayed in terms of having 3 offensive coordinators, 3 offensive line coaches, 4 receivers coaches?
I don't think I think it's a little bit more of the inconsistency of play,
Will, is it easy or hard for you to immerse yourself into the details and the grind of a game week and not look ahead beyond that to whatever may or may not happen? Is game week almost a relief?
Every week is the same during the season. It's a Groundhog Day. And as far as hours, time spent watching film, hardly ever in my office. I'm in the staff room constantly, helping get ready for a game. And complete bunker mentality during the season, as far as, what we need to do to be successful. So as far as all the other, I travel from home to work and work to home, and that's about all I do. So I'm not into the other stuff. I'm watching film and getting this football team ready.
Zach and then Mike.
Will, being on both sides of this rivalry as a player and coach, what does it mean for you personally?
Well, we need to get a win. That's the first thing. But again, it's just one of the great rivalries in college football. You look at, the Florida-Georgia game, you look at Texas-OU. To be in the stadium, it's split 50-50, and the importance of the game to both universities are very special. So that's obviously very important.
Your players probably don't need any extra motivation for this game, being how good Georgia is, but maybe for some of the seniors that haven't beat them, do you think this means a lot to them as well?
Certainly. Our guys understand the importance of this game as the University of Florida, and that's enough said for it.
Mike and then Jeff.
Coach, you stuck with Jeff quite a long time as your starting quarterback, and you always said he gave you the best chance to win. Was that because you were able to open up the playbook more, and will you have to scale that down?
No, I think in the open week, our offensive staff did a pretty good job of identifying some things that Treon does extremely well. So we won't pare things down as much as you would think with a freshman quarterback. He's an extremely bright young man. He's able to handle a lot of things on his plate. So I think the repetition of Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of last week, and now an extra day really of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, walk through on Friday. Again, accompanied with all the reps that he's gotten so far this fall will help him moving forward.
Will, we talk about the history of the Florida-Georgia series and how close it's been. Each team has kind of had stretches of dominance.
Well, I can only, speak of my time here, or would speak about my time here. I think that we've had 3 games that have come down to the last drive of the game, and we need to coach and play better in those situations. I told our team that Thursday. You know, we've had opportunities to get off the field defensively. We've had opportunity to go for a possible tie in another situation, and we haven't done it. So you credit their team and what they've been able to do, but we've certainly had our opportunities.
We've talked about the '93 game many times. What's your recollection of that locker room? That was like the first time in 30 years that Georgia players had gone 4 years and not beaten Florida.
Well, we were wet. I don't remember that. The water was cascading off the bleachers there, but you know, again, Eric Zaire played an outstanding game. Shannon Mitchell, I think had 16 catches in the game. Eric Red had 200 and how many yards rushing? 200 and a lot, you know. So he played extremely well in the game. But it was a back and forth game, a typical rivalry game, and each team had their opportunities to win the game, and Florida won the game.
Do you remember particularly after the game where some of the seniors on your team were kind of shaking their heads like, I can't believe we didn't beat Florida for 4 years?
I think maybe in the season was over, you reflect on things like that. But during the season, it's, really, I wouldn't reflect that way, and I don't know that I ever saw that.
Take us through your memories of the '94 game. I mean, playing in the swamp at the time when Jacksonville Stadium was being
Right.
re-renovated. Just what happened in that game, and take us to the test.
Georgia had me covering. That's what happened in that game. They asked for an ability alignment versus Jack Jackson. It was out of the stadium. So now Florida had a very good team that year, and they had me covering at Georgia. So it wasn't very good. No, I can't cover anybody. I can cover this. That's about all I can cover right now.
Coach, before the year, you said offensively this is probably the most talent you've had. Do you still feel that way? And what do you think is maybe...
Well, I don't think that we've played up to our capabilities, to be honest with you. DeMarcus Robinson has been our one lone receiver that's been consistently productive throughout the year. Again, I think in the run game, the game changed the other night because of the scoreboard and as far as having to get away from some run game things, but we've done some decently productive things. I think our offensive line, for the most part, has played well. We did the other night. We got into a drop-back game, and that's not something that we're going to be able to consistently do well as far as the scoreboard was concerned. So, again, it's been, disappointing coming out of training camp and thinking about where we were and where I thought we were. And then, for whatever reason, from a confidence standpoint, lack of production has been there.
Is there any way other than doing it on Saturday to kind of build that confidence back up with the offense?
Well, I think when you get opportunities to make plays, you got to make some plays, and that's where, that's how you build confidence within a game situation. And those opportunities will happen on Saturday. You got to go out there and coach well and prepare your players for those situations when they happen. You got to go make some plays. You got to catch the ball. You got to throw it to the right spots. You can't force the ball. You got to take care of the football. Is the number one thing our team needs to do right now is take care of the ball. And if we're able to do that, we'll give ourselves a chance to win. And if we don't take care of the ball, it doesn't really matter. It just doesn't.
Well, the offensive line in the last game kind of broke down more than it had been. What would you see in that game? Was it just a factor of Missouri's talent level, or?
No, I think as much as anything, when the scoreboard changed, we had to get into a drop-back game, which the launch point's not changing, and you had Ray and Golden, who are two very good ends, which I think we got good tackles and blocked them for a large amount of the game. But when those guys are pinning their ears back, knowing that most every down is going to be a drop-back situation, they were able to pin their ears back and get some pressure on the quarterback. And so, again, I told our guys, in those situations, we got to be able to block. And I feel good about our tackles. Given that situation, again, we need to respond better.
So you feel like that's a much improved unit from a season
Absolutely.
ago?
Yep.
What are a couple of other areas on the team where you feel like you've seen gains?
Well, I think we've played well at the running back position. I think the offensive line has played well. I think we've continued to improve throughout the year defensively. I really do. From the Tennessee on, obviously the busted coverage against LSU is not, was a critical play for us. But other than that, in the secondary and as far as our run fits at linebacker, LSU's proved that they're not a very average team. They're a pretty good football team running the football. I thought our run fits have been pretty good for the most part, no situation. So, I've seen some improvement through the year. It's been, just inconsistent play from the quarterback and receiver's position has hurt us.
Mark, up front.
I know it doesn't personally affect you, all the noise and talk, but what about your family and maybe some guys on your staff, that kind of stuff? How do you handle that and deal with that?
Again, as a football coach, it's a bunker mentality. It's just, it is what it is. It's what you deal with, and you get in this profession. I told the team on Sunday after the game, I said, as a fan, you buy a ticket, they reserve the right to boo. They buy the ticket, they can come boo and chant and holler and scream and start a website and all that stuff. If that's what they want to do, that's certainly their prerogative. And as a coach and as a player, when you come to the University of Florida or a place like this, that's something you got to accept. That's part of it.
How do you accept it? How do you deal with it as a father, though?
Well, it's
Kids
tough.
hear
You
things.
got to get home and explain to your 9-year-old why they're chanting to fire your dad. That's not very fun. But, again, my family understands it. They understand the deal in being a coach, and there's some great things that come along with this job, and then there's some tough deals you got to deal with. But again, I don't complain about that stuff. That's part of the job. It's part of what you do when you come here, and it is what it is.
Mike, go to the right, and then Jesse.
Coach, have you noticed any real difference in Georgia's scheme defensively since Jeremy Pruitt took over as defensive coordinator? Are they doing anything much differently?
I think from just watching them, I think that the two ends, Jenkins and Floyd, are very active in what they do. Both guys are very slippery in the rush. They can both get on the edges. Both linebackers are very instinctive. Herrera and Wilson are guys that do a really good job in the run game. But they still, the years before and into this year, they've been pretty complex schematically in what they do and mixing coverage and pressure. And I think they've continued to do a nice job of that. But they've been, really, limited. They haven't given up many big plays, and that's probably as much as anything from last year. They were very young in the back end. They gave up some big plays. I haven't seen that as much. And then they've been very opportunistic, and they've gotten some turnovers. But they haven't given up a lot of chunk plays down the field. All right.
Jesse in the middle.
Quentin wasn't in the wide receiver rotation against Missouri. Has he been benched, or how does he responded to that not playing?
We need to be productive. And Ahmad's been a guy that's been very productive at practice and working hard, and Quentin had a good off week. He'll play against Georgia, and we'll continue to work through the repetitions throughout the week. Mm-hmm.
Brandon Powell didn't see too many touches until later in that Missouri game. Do you expect him to maybe have more of a role in the offense earlier on against Georgia?
He'll have a significant role in the game.
Final question.
Well, this was a game that I'm sure you heard from a lot of fans in the offseason about. Is it just not another game for you, especially?
Well, it's an important game in the University of Florida. It means it's an important game to me. And so you take it as that. Will certainly be the Gator Club in Jackson will be a whole lot easier next fall or next spring, But, again, it's a critical game because it's an East rival. It's an SEC rival. It's a rival of the University of Florida, and it's very important to our university.
Personal, not personal to you?
Well, they're all personal.
SEC's got this real, a big back attack going on in terms of, it seems like Alex Collins and Fournette and Matt Jones and then Gurley. It hasn't always been that big, but do you see that as a little bit of a trend in terms of maybe, like you said, those guys wear you down?
Well, I think that, no different than you're buying a boxing ticket. Do you buy it to go to see the featherweights fight or the heavyweights? The heavyweights, okay? So, again, if you take a 6'2", 230-pounder that's got really good speed as opposed to a 5'9", 185-pounder who, in our league, in my experience, and I'm not saying that they don't make it through the entire season without an injury, but those guys have a hard time sustaining throughout the entire season, to take some of the hits that they're going to be taking throughout the year. Regardless of your size in our league right now, you have a hard time making it through with one or two. You need to have three to be able to maintain the physicality you've got to take and some of the blows you're going to take. But certainly having a bigger back that's got the top end speed to finish down the field is critical.
Thanks, guys. Thanks.
All righty. All right.
What's up, everybody?
What's up, Mike Taylor?
How y'all doing?
Good, you?
Mike, just your thoughts in general about Georgia and the rivalry and kind of what it means to you.
You know, it's a big rivalry game. It's probably one of the best college atmospheres you can play in, knowing that it's just split down the middle. You know, Georgia on one side, Florida on the other side. It's just coming out the tunnel and on the field and a neutral site. You know, it's just something that you pride yourself on playing in, and you know, you want to have a good game and a big game in this game.
You get a lot of stuff from family and whatnot, kind of being from up there.
Not really. I ain't lived my whole life up there, you know. So, I mean, I hear from like people that I went to high school with. But the main thing is people my mom works with, you know, because most of them went to Georgia and support Georgia. So, her son goes to Florida, and you know, she has to take heat for that for about 3 years now. So, I need to give her a little bit of ammunition this year.
Where
So,
she work at Georgia or something like that?
she works at Emory, so it's a healthcare center up there.
For you and some other upperclassmen who are from Georgia, you know, how much does this game mean to you guys? Some of you guys know.
You know, being recruited by them and being recruited from the state of Georgia means a lot, you know, because you chose to go away for college. So it is a big game. You know, it impacts us too, as it does, you know, probably Muschamp too. You know, he went there. You know, so you know, it's a big game for all of us. It's the border rivalry. You know, you want to play good in this game, and you know, this game has decided who's going to come out the East for the last couple of years, except for last year. So, you know, it's a big game. It's an important game. So for all of us, not just, you know, the ones who went to high school in Georgia.
What did the challenges posed by the run game in Georgia? Ty Gurley will expect fully to be back this week.
I mean, we knew Todd Gurley would be back this week. But regardless of who's back there between Todd Gurley, Nick Chubb, they got a good running game, and you know that's what their offense runs through. So you know, we stop the run. You know, we could be really successful on defense because you know that leads to play action pass and a lot of other stuff. You know, so just like this week is every week, stopping the run is crucial, but it's just as more crucial this week.
Mike, a lot of criticism out there about Coach Muschamp, and maybe his job is on the line. How has he handled that, and how have you guys handled it as players?
I mean, people can really say whatever they want. You know, we're the ones who sit in these, you know, in these meeting chairs and listen to him. And you know, the people that are saying that, you know, they're not out there coaching with him. They're not being coached by him. They're not playing on Saturdays. No, they got the tickets. You know, they have the tickets. They have the Twitters. You know, they have all that stuff. And they can voice their opinions. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. It's somewhere in the Constitution, one of those amendments, where you can voice your opinion. You know, it's not facts. So, I mean, people can say whatever they want to say, but I guarantee you we go out there, we play well on Saturday, we win. A lot of stuff that comes on my Twitter feed will be a lot more positive than what it has been. So.
But how does Coach handle all this stuff? Business as usual?
Yeah, I mean, same way, I mean, he's got to do his job as we have to do our job. So we can't worry about his future or, you know, what we've got going on and how that connects to us. You know, we're just going to go out there and play. We love playing for him. He's a good coach. He's a great person. I wouldn't approve anybody else. I wouldn't want to play for anybody else right now. So, I mean, that's just how I feel about it. I'm pretty sure every other player in the locker room feels that way. So we're not really playing for his job. We're playing for, you know, we're playing for ourselves. We got enough motivation.
Yeah, Michael, Hudson Mason he's not that big play, Johnny Manziel, Jameis Winston type of quarterback. He's a game manager. He doesn't make a whole lot of mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Is it harder or
You
easier
got
to
him
play
broken down pretty well.
Is it harder or easier to play against a guy who they don't ask a whole heck of a lot of him, but he doesn't make very many mistakes?
Compared to who? Like Johnny Manziel?
Yeah, there's not a wild card situation.
Manziel was really good. I mean, it was gonna be hard playing against him. But I'm not gonna knock Hudson Mason's ability. You know, he's a Division I quarterback. You know, he's there for a reason. But you know, I'd say I'd rather play against a game manager rather than somebody who make plays. Because that's a longer play. You know, they can extend the play. They can try to find playmakers. So I'd say I'd rather play against a game manager rather than somebody who's back there as a playmaker. Because you got other playmakers, and when you got a quarterback that's a playmaker, that's even tougher, which is why, as you said, Johnny Manziel and A&M was so successful. So.
All right, Mike's gonna go.
Holla, y'all.
Max is outside. I'll be right back in that.
Good afternoon, everyone. How y'all doing?
From your games in this Florida-Georgia rivalry, any one memory stick out to you the most?
Yes, the last play offensively that we had last year, just going out on the sack. Yeah, I remember that one.
Will last week talked about the offense finding an identity. What do you think the potential identity, I guess, of the group is?
I mean, we really just focused on ourselves this past bye week. We try to really focus on our fundamentals and just build confidence, that way. And what we do as a run blocking team, we feel like we've ran the ball well. So I think we're gonna, maybe emphasize that, being a running team, because we haven't been passing the ball effectively. So if that's what we have to do, if that has to be our identity, I think that's what we're gonna have to do, to win the game. So, but I'm not sure. So we'll see what Treon brings to the game. But I feel like, if we're good at running the ball, then, might as well just keep doing it.
What do you expect kind of the spark Treon to provide?
I think, when we get in compromising situations as far as in the passing game, that he's going to be able to get us out of it and, make a play with his feet and, just, maybe scramble out the pocket and, create some plays downfield with his feet.
Max, what are your memories of this rivalry growing up, and what does it mean to you now as a player?
Right. So I'm a Georgia boy. One of the first memories I have is, watching this game. But I just feel like this game is just like there's so much hype, there's so much tension around it, and I mean, I don't even know how to describe the atmosphere. It's just like so much, just anxiousness, just so much anxiousness around the game. But yeah, it's a huge game, and I feel like guys are just really locked in. Just from our lift this morning, I feel like guys are just, really just focusing on, trying to get better.
How much trash talk are you hearing from back home, and what would a win mean for you in this game?
It'll just, give me something to talk about, I guess, when I go back home, because I do have to go back there, every year and hear my high school coaches talk about it, and hear family members and old classmates talk about it to go to Georgia. So it'll just give me something, to brag on, and especially it being my senior year, this is my last chance to make my impact on the game. So it'll just give me something to talk about.
Max, speaking of, I know you haven't been here for all 4 years, but just how important is it to you and those seniors to get a win against Georgia, knowing, for the other guys, they haven't gotten one in the last 3 years?
Right. So, yeah, as a senior, I really want to win this game. There's not I don't even care about the rest of the games. If we win this game, you know what I'm saying, morale is high, if we win this game. So, to just, boost our confidence up as a team, and, to get us going on the track, where we want to be at the end of the year, because we have to go through Georgia to get to the SEC championship game, which, we still want to do, what we still have aspirations of doing. If we didn't have those hopes and aspirations of, going to the SEC championship game, then we wouldn't go on the field. So that's where we are as a team. We really want to beat Georgia, and as a senior, being from Georgia, just that more, added to the game. So I can't even, tell you, how much more I want to beat Georgia. I just want to beat them.
Is there a little bit of sense of desperation, and is this the kind of week where you and some of those seniors will speak up about it?
I don't think the right word is desperation. I just think the word is, want to. The word is want to. We want to do it. We want to play for each other. When everyone is, not behind us, when everyone's saying this and that about our team, we're the guys on the field, putting in the work. We've put in the work, during the offseason. We're the ones who have bled, sweat, and cried for this team. So we want to play for ourselves first and foremost.
Max, Michael Taylor made a pretty impassioned case for Coach Muschamp in here a few minutes ago, and wondering what your thoughts are on that, the noise, the chatter that's out there, the controversy. Michael said that those people aren't in practice, and they're not in the locker room, and they're not in the games, and they're not where you guys are in relation to Coach Muschamp. And can you comment on that?
Well, yeah, exactly. We know Coach Muschamp on a personal level. And, people, don't realize it all the time that, he's a father, he's a husband, he's a son. And, the players on the team, we look up to him, as another father figure as well, just because, what he means to us. So it's hard, when people talk bad about him. And, it's just unfortunate that, this being, especially in this conference, that this conference just demands so much out of a coach. But we're just there to support him however we can. And, just to love him like he loves us, that's all we can do, and just, just support him, because he does put us in the right position. He does, give us the opportunity to go out there and win. But he can't, he can't catch a ball for the receivers. He can't, make a call or make the right read, on the field. He can just prepare us to do it. And as players, we have to go out there and execute.
How well has he handled all this criticism, Max?
I think he's handled it very well. Just saying that he's put in this position because he can handle it. If he wasn't made for this position, he wouldn't be in it. So it's just encouraging to see him handle, all the criticism that way, as a professional and just as a person, because sometimes you want to, take things personally, when it comes to football. But people have to understand, like I said, we are people too, and we have, emotions, and, just we're humans. We hurt, and we feel things, with our hearts. And people don't, understand that all the time.
Max, you mentioned being from Georgia. You hear anything from friends, family back home during this week especially?
Yeah, I think more from my family members more than anything, just because, people are always talking to them about it. So they're like, yeah, I got this coworker saying this and that, about the Gators, and I'm like, yeah, we're gonna go out there and do what we can, and so it's more for my family members than anything, just to give them, just ammunition, just something to, like I said, something to talk about, in a positive way, being a Gator win. So that's where most of the conversation comes up.
Where are you guys at confidence-wise as an offense? Muschamp said you guys have lost some confidence. It's pretty clear.
I feel like I wouldn't agree with that statement. I haven't lost any confidence in the guys that I play with, and that's just how I feel. Guys have been locked in. Guys have made the right calls, made the right blocks, and Missouri was probably one of the worst games that we played this season. But other than that, I feel like we've protected well, we've ran the ball well, and we just got to make plays. And we got to do our part as an offensive line. But I don't feel like we've lost confidence. I feel like however we can win the game, that's what we want to do. And we just got to find the right way, whether it's run the ball or pass the ball or whatever we can do. Throw screens all day.
Do you think your identity is will be or is as a running team?
I think so. Last year against South Carolina, when we had Scholar in there, we said we were going to run the ball until the wheels fell off. So if we had to do the same thing this year against every team, then that's what we're going to do. But it has been our strong point this season is run the ball. So why not do it?
Max, how demoralizing have all the turnovers been the past 4 games, and just difficult to overcome?
It's very difficult to overcome when you have 6 turnovers in a game. It's pretty much impossible to do that. It just kills drives, it stops momentum, and like you said, it just demoralizes the team. When we can't take care of the ball. I think Missouri had like 50-something players. We had like almost 80 players on offense, and that's on us to take care of the football, just respect the football. Like if we come out of the play, whether it be positive or negative yards, if we come out, with the football, then, we're going to be successful. But we've turned the ball over way too much, and that's something that we definitely have to work on and just have to grow in that area.
Two questions for you. You said that South Carolina, when you guys were going to run until the wheels fell off.
Yeah.
You guys weren't real successful doing that, just in terms of wins and losses. Can you win doing that?
I think we can. I think that was a close game. South Carolina had some explosive plays in that game, and but I felt like we were successful doing that. Whatever we can do to win the game, that's what we're going to have to do. I can't tell you what that is because we haven't been doing it. So whatever way we can win the game, that's what we're going to do. I just have no idea what that is. But, I'm looking forward to it just as you are.
And then without giving away anything game plan-wise or anything like that, what kind of changes does Treon bring just from his skill set and everything?
He has the ability, just to make plays. Like I said, like when he is in the pocket, if someone's, coming in from the left side, he'll, scramble right and throw the ball 30 yards downfield. And I really like that about him, how he has just a good pocket awareness, and he has a really strong arm too. So he makes tons of plays in practice, unbelievable plays. I'm like, man, this guy he's a special player. So I really just want to see him, transition what he does on the practice field, to the game, because he can, make those plays and just give us that excitement, I guess, that we're looking for.
You mentioned before that Harris kind of struggles in pointing out blitzes just because he's not as experienced in it. Does he ask you for help or any of the offensive linemen for help, and what do you kind of advise him on that?
Has personally asked me for help, but if he doesn't say something, when I see something, then I'm gonna make a call, and so I guess that's me helping him out, helping the team out. But I think he does. I think he works a lot with Roper, and just seeing that, and he for the most part he does a really good job.
Are you noticing him getting better at it?
Am I nervous at him getting?
Are you noticing him getting better?
Oh yeah. I'm noticing. Yeah, he's growing a lot in that area. I think he's been watching a lot of film, like I said, working with Roper, with those situations. But for the most part, he's done a good job, in the games. Appreciate y'all.